I would like to just first of all say thank you all for being here, Lake Superior Interfaith. And there's a statement of intent. I would like to say, we continue to be fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom for all those who share. This is a church community where we can worship the God of our own understanding, to experience joy and be uplifted, to gain strength and inspiration where we can share with others throughout the week. And we invite you to join us in the celebration of life, to nourish your spirit and enjoy the community of kindred souls. You know, one thing I was thinking as I'm reading this is like, it says, Virginia said, oh, okay, she's probably coming on. I got a text that said yes. I said, are you okay? Oh my, yeah, hold on. You guys, I'm going to text her, say, okay, we're waiting for you. Okay.
She's coming into the meeting now.
She is. Thank you. Okay, good. Okay. But anyway, this is a place where we can be free with our own spiritual understanding is what I'm. Hi, Virginia, you're here. And I'll just finish. So many people, they worship their way, and it's only their way. And I am so grateful we can work, we can be ourselves, whatever we feel in our heart. Unlike Catholic and anyway, that just came into my head as I was reading the statement of intent. Virginia, I'm glad you're here.
I'm sorry. I got stuck upstairs for a couple of extra minutes.
Okay. Well, it's all good. Okay. I just want to thank you for being here, Virginia. I know you have a great message for us.
We'll try.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to click on this right in the middle. It says the meeting is being recorded. Got it. It's taking up space on my computer. It's like, what? Okay. The next thing we normally do, we go to announcements for any announcements anybody has or would like to share. Other than, you know, I don't know. How about prayer requests? Specific prayer requests. Again, I can write down your names and tell Catherine Cephala, and she can do even more Reiki herself, and she's amazing. However, no prayer requests. Okay. Well, alrighty. I would like to say the principles then. And can you get them? Okay. Here's the principles. They're great. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that a phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. And we affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm the existence and identity of the individual continue after the change called death. And we believe in our universal connection in spirit and that there is communication between the spiritual and physical worlds. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule. Whatsoever ye would that others do unto you, do ye also unto them. And we affirm the moral responsibility of individuals that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey and disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. And we affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. And we affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes contained in all sacred texts. Okay, and with that, I would like to welcome Virginia again. I ask people to mute themselves, which I will do. And you're on, Virginia. Yay.
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I can only see a couple because I'm on my phone, but I'm happy to see all of you and happy to reach out to you. I decided that today, sometimes we forget in our very busy days, especially now that we are coming out of the pandemic, our days are getting busier. We're reaching out to more people. We're able to get out of the house more often, interact with a variety of people. And so as a result, I thought that the idea of communication might be something that we could focus on, but focus on in our specific way. One of our principles that were just read by Carol talks about the fact that we have communication not only between us, the physical, but we have communication, and we believe that it's possible to have communication with the unseen, or those that have gone before us, or other possibilities of receiving information. We forget about that in some ways, unless we're very intuitive, and all of us are intuitive. Sometimes we can focus on it and use it, and it's really helpful. And sometimes we kind of forget about it and suddenly have an inspiration and go, oh, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so you got good communication that way. But maybe perhaps we can look at it as a daily practice, as opposed to coming to church on Sundays. And basically, that's what we're doing now. We're connecting who we are physically, along with all of the people and all of the entities that we know to exist, and bringing them into our space. And that's part of what we do when we do it in church. And it makes it kind of nice to be able to do that. So that was my idea about today, where we've just had really phenomenal astrological process with the full moon and having the eclipse of the moon, which is really very, very energetically very, very strong. And the idea is to reach out and potentially use some of that strength so that we can be more aware. Being aware is something that isn't just personal, it's communicative. Because when you're aware, you know how to say something to someone. You're in a line, getting ready to check out at a store, and somehow you look at the cashier and you say, oh, she's really having a hard day today, so I'm going to be special nice. And you do that. You smile. You'll say, I hope you're having a good day. And if she says something that'll give you something else to say, then you continue in that vein. That's being aware. And it's being communicative. And it's being communicative, not just physical, but you've engaged the spiritual at the same time. Because that first intuitive thought that you had is because you looked at the aura, even if you don't see auras, you reacted to it. And so you were being communicative with the spiritual aspect of that energy field around the woman who was the server at that point. So we have opportunities, and we're going to be having even more opportunities as we reach out and as we move and we begin to reassert ourselves in a social way. And so the idea of living the principles that we say on Sunday, but living them through the week, so that when we get back on Sunday and we say those principles again, we go, oh yeah, I've used that this week. Oh yeah, that's something we can do. So it's the idea of taking what we do on Sunday, that we stop and we have time and we take the space and we reach out to like-minded people from our own church. And we are able then to take that community that we have and take it with us for the week. And then when we come back, we then, even if we don't physically or even mentally reassert the fact that, oh, well, I did this during the week, and oh, well, I did that during the week, the energy that you brought with you into our meeting is the thing that we end up sharing. And it becomes our community share, and our community then reaches out even further. So communication, while is a pretty boring subject, when we stop and think of it more in the idea of energy and working not only with ourselves, but working with others, in some ways, if we can become just more aware and helping ourselves to let the energies come up and be part of our daily experience. Somebody hasn't muted themselves.
Oh, please stop.
It's okay. We have angels talking to us, right? Remember, every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. I mean, okay, it's a Christmas story, but it doesn't make any difference. It works all year round. So yeah, okay, let's look at that. That's communication. We're getting a reminder that part of that non-physical energy that we work with are part of the angel world that we've already talked about earlier. And while today I didn't particularly want to focus on angels because we've done that already. Well, we've done it, and then we'll do it again someday. But it's like anything else. Practice makes perfect. And the idea that we can reach out to others and be intuitive only because we say, okay, I know. Part of what I know is that we communicate on all levels. Our group is, how can I say, focused on the fact that we have more than one level of communication. It's part of the reason why our church reaches out to a variety of people to come and speak with us. I've just had an angel land in my lap, large and white. There he is, off. So, but that's part of the thing, is that we have that capacity. Our church is unique in the way that it reaches out and connects to everybody else. There's another angel that's joining us, I see. And so the idea is to be aware. We talked about the fact that we ask for angels to work with us. We request energy from source energy. This is a little bit more of the reverse. It's becoming aware of that source energy, if you like, but from the physical to the spiritual, or the physical to the energetic, and becoming aware of that energetic and necessarily reacting to it. This isn't energy that you've requested. This isn't energy that you've asked to work for you. This is the energy that's out there that everybody lives in, that's part of our world. And it's part of the entity of being here on Earth and having incarnated, if you'd like, in a physical, where we live a physical world, live in a physical world, and we live a physical life. But within us is that spiritual aspect. Whether you want to call it the soul, or you want to call it internal energy, or you call it and anything else that there's a lot of different possibilities depending upon the background and the how can I call the education that you've taken in your life. You recognize that there's more to this physical than just the physical, because the physical is very earth. Everything about our physical will remain here. But what's within us is what goes back to the energetic level. And it's part of, if we can, making sure, or not so much making sure, but becoming aware of that energy and the energy that is in other people, because that's what we think of it the most. But there's energy in the plants. Listen, with all of our wonderful sun that we've been having, the gardens are blooming and the gardens are growing. And I've sat here and watched the birch tree leaf from little tiny buds to full-blown leaves. All of that is energy. And if we can see the energy, I've sat here and I can see the energy in the birch tree as it was pulling from the earth, the energy, reaching to the sun and bringing the sun energy down and melding the two together in order to grow. So while on one hand, yes, we need to be aware and communicative with other individuals, and in this way bring about an energy connection, even for people who you don't know. The person that's checking you out in the store, you don't know that person. I mean, you may recognize her if you go to the store at the same time every week and you go through the same tray or place to checkout stand. If you go to the same one, you may see the same person, and that person may become aware of you. Oh, you're back. How are you doing? That's nice. Okay. So they're reaching out too, and that becomes an energy dialogue for you. And the idea is to not only just become aware of the other person's energy, but also to bless that person, even though you might not verbally do it. If you mentally do it, that's the energy process. That's that internal part that we have. That's our soul or our intellect or our ego and id and the whole 9 yards. Okay. But that's that part of us that's reaching out. And if we then bless the person, or if we say thank you, and you really mean thank you when you're leaving the area, you've created a little pocket of energy that reaches out further. That energy can go further. Maybe that person will have the opportunity to smile because they feel a little bit better after you've gone through, and the next person in line going through is really having a hard day, and the checkout person smiles at the person having a hard day. The energy has now moved, and it's reached out, and it's continued its way, potentially to help, to bless, to heal, which is again part of our principles. We believe that we can heal. We understand that we can use energy, we can ask for energy, we can request healing. Reiki is one of the most interesting processes using very specific energy parameters, and being able to reach out to people with those things, and it goes further. All the connections that we make during the course of the week, we bring them with us, whether we want to or we don't. We bring them with us when we come and we sit in community at church. And soon, hopefully, we'll be able to actually sit in community in our own church, in the church that is a physical place. And we can meld the whole process of what we do here in Zoom with a Zoom process that we'll have at the church, reaching out to those that are either not in Duluth and unable to come to the physical church, or are homebound and unable to come to the physical church. We'll continue to have the Zoom for them. And as a result, this whole communication process becomes a larger circle every time we come back and we share and we provide to each other this communicative energy. In some ways, my idea for today is instead of being very totally energy oriented, is to bring the fact that that energy is really in place with us here on this particular planet where we've chosen to incarnate in a physical body that will not go anywhere other than on this earth. Because when we pass, our energy will pass to the energy world, but our physical bodies are going to go back to the earth because they are earth. This is something that almost any religion that we're able to talk about in that is part of all of the different cultures around the world, they all say this body in the end belongs to the earth. But in the meantime, we're using it so that we can potentially grow. We can become aware. We can become more spiritual. And in this way, we raise the elevation from what at one point living in a physical body was on this earth to where we are today. Not everybody is great about using their bodies in a way that is helpful and energetically aware. But the more of us that reach out through our community to provide people with a possibility of, how can I say, being with us, taking a listen to our principles and seeing that they're, just as I came in, I don't know what produced Carol's comments about the fact that we all do this in our own way. And it's true, we all do our religious process or our spiritual process in our individual and very, how can I say, specific way, because that's part of the reason why we're here, is to provide a wide variety in a world that is multicultural, multilingual, all kinds of process. And working towards being, how can I say, working towards being a better world. I'm not sure that we as humans, as I think of the whole world, that we've been very kind to this planet so far. But that doesn't mean that we can't change some of the ways, potentially make things better. And this is part of also becoming aware of the fact that we are physical, with a core of energy that can reach out and heal not just other individuals, but we can reach out and heal our planet. I don't know that we're going to have enough time to heal it so that it is 100% back to where it was maybe originally, but that isn't what I'm concerned about in many ways, because we are a group of people and all we can do is to do things better, teach those that are coming up behind us to do things better, and become aware of the multi-level process that we in our church believe is normal, is daily, is our lives. It's not somebody else's life, it's our lives, but our lives that reach out as a group to the community, in through the community, into the greater community, particularly right here in Duluth. But even for those that are not living in Duluth, they're also reaching out to community in wherever they are located and bringing that energy, and in many ways branching the energy from our little Duluth church out into other communities throughout the country that we have, that I know. I mean, we've have people that are in Miami and people that are in Colorado and people that are in other places, and that join us, that feel that they are part of our group, and they feel that they're a part of our group because our principles, as we promote them, are very acceptable to them as individuals in living a life that is in communion with both the physical, the mental, the spiritual, that is part of our whole world. So while a couple of times I focused on total source energy and angels and all of that, part of that was reminding us that we have the possibility to ask and receive. Today, I'm asking us to be more communicative in the sense of being more aware of the fact that our energy can reach out to others and help them individually and potentially beyond them as individuals to be more blessed, to feel better, to heal, to support, to acknowledge, to be grateful. All of those attributes are really much more spiritual than they are physical. And we sometimes forget that we should be grateful, or now I use the should word. No, we shouldn't. We can be more grateful by, and more, how can I say, communicative of the fact that we recognize that some individual has provided us with a service. We may pay for it, but that's only a portion of it. The person has chosen to be there in order to be able to have the service available to us. And it's one of the things that we sometimes forget, that people come to help us, or we reach out to help others, and we forget always to say thank you. Or we may say thank you, but it's like, oh, thanks very much. Okay, but without actually saying, looking at them and saying, thank you. And intentionally saying, thank you for being there for me, so that my space is a better space as a result of our interaction. Again, that's a communicative process. And all we have to do is when we say thank you, is to look at the person so that they know that you're recognizing them as an individual with a soul or with an energy factor, and that the energy that you recognize, we recognize because of our religious belief, if you like, extends to them, no matter what their religion is, whether they have one or they don't have one. Not everybody these days grows up with a religious background. I mean, there used to be times when it was always you were either Catholic or Protestant or Jewish or Muslim or something, right? But today there isn't always that absolute line. And so we don't know, just because they live in a particular area, whether they come from a religious background or not. So we're not doing this in terms of religion. We're doing this in terms of what? Energy. It's part of our principles. So I guess it was last week when I joined and we were saying our principles, and I said, I wonder how often we think of those principles besides the one time every week that we hear Carol recite them for us. And so I decided that when she asked me if I was available to speak this week, I said, okay. And the recurring idea of communication came up. And finally, I realized, that middle principle, the one that's right in the middle of those 7 principles that we recite, is all about communication. And it's all about reaching out and recognizing that, yeah, we're physical, okay, but there's that other factor that is actually part of our daily life. If we can recognize it, if we're willing to work with it, and it works in with all of the rest of the things that many of the speakers have come and offered us in each their own way. Last week, we were very blessed to have a Buddhist speaker, and her Dhamma is just so rich, and she came across with this real honest flavor of what the Buddhist process is. And then we have other people that come and they provide us with different angle. But if we start looking at all of the angles that thankfully we're able to come, then each of us in some way will catch on to something that means something particular to us, and then carry it through and move it out and provide it to others. So I decided that I would just offer something to remind us that our principles that we promote on a regular basis are very much, or can be very much, part of our daily life. So I don't have anything other than that. I think I've taken it to as far as I can. The next step will be yours. And the idea, perhaps, as you go through the week, see if perhaps you're not entranced a couple of times by things and people that you meet as you're going through your daily life, and bless them. Again, you don't have to say bless you, because maybe they don't believe in blessing. And so they would automatically kind of go, oh, I don't want that. But if you mentally just bless them and let the energy fall and let them absorb it, if that's what they want, they will accept it energetically. Be grateful. Look them in the eye and say thank you, or I appreciate that, or gee, it's been really great. All of those are grateful processes. And we forget sometimes to do them. I know, I do too. But I'm hoping that we'll listen a little bit more attentively to our principles and perhaps find one that we particularly jive with, like I did with this one. And then maybe you can come and speak about the one that makes you impressed and makes you realize that our community church is special and our community church is very real and our principles are indeed good ways to live. Now, I haven't done a meditation today. I can do a short, we can do a short breathing meditation if you'd like.
Sure.
Yeah, we got some fingers for short meditation there. Okay, I can see a couple. All right. I'm going to sit up so that I can have my breath work. And so I'd like you to, we can start with our eyes open. If you have possibility of looking out a window or looking at something in your house that you believe is particularly beautiful, that might be a focal point. Or you can close your eyes. And we'll start with a deep breath and we'll intake. Oh, and let it out. Let it go. That was just an easy one. We'll try that one more time. We'll intake and hold 2, 3, and we'll let it go. We'll try one more. Intake, hold, let go. And as you let go, feel the energy in your body moving from your head through your chest and down your legs. Intake, hold, and let go. Yes, I have an opportunist. Intake, hold, and let it go. If you feel like letting it go and making a sound, that also is a good way to let it go. And we'll intake, hold, and we'll let it go. Okay. Can you feel the energy all the way down to your toes? Okay, now we're going to intake, except we're going to intake breath and feel it come from the earth below. We're going to feel it come up through our feet and up through our legs and reach our torsos. And we'll intake, pulling it in. And when we let it go, we're going to let it go out our arms as if we were a tree. And our energy is reaching out. And we'll intake again. And we'll let it go. And our arms, our energetic arms, are reaching out to the sun. We've got beautiful sun here in Duluth today. It's going to be very warm. And so we'll be able to enjoy being warm after our cold winter. And we'll intake, feel the sun growing the leaves, if you like, our energy leaves, as they move in the breeze outside. The next intake we're going to hold in our core, right in the middle of our torso, near our heart. We're going to intake and fill our heart. Fill the heart with that energy, the energy that you've collected from the outside, that you've brought in to your heart. And now we're going to let it go. And we'll intake again and let it out. And breathe normally at this point. Our heart is full of energy. Our torso is full. We've reached out to the earth below. We've reached out to the sun above. And we've brought them together in our individual hearts, as well as in the heart of the church, that our energy will reach out to our community and be able to bring peace and loving kindness to any and all that we meet in the course of our week. And we bring the energy back then next Sunday to our community. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, well, I guess the ball goes back to you, Carol, for
Okay.
our closing prayer and blessing, please.
Okay. First, I'd like to ask people to unmute, and if they have any questions, want to share anything, talk to. Yeah, if anybody, we do that. And so if anybody has anything to share. The one thing I was talking about, Virginia, when you first came on, is when I was reading the statement of intent about, this community where we can worship the God of our own understanding. And I'm thinking like Muslims and all these different people in Israel, and they can't worship without being bombed. It's like, we can worship however we want and we're safe. That just came into my head at that time. It's like, I am so grateful to be here and to be with this church, and we can just be who we are and expressive, and it's all perfectly good. I just want to share one more thing. When I first came here, I was going through a divorce in 1997, and I knew it was going into that, and I came here, and somebody, in fact, it was Connie Carter. She said, Carol, you really need to check out this church. I walked in there and I sat down and I'm listening to whoever was speaking. I started crying. Oh my God. The first 2 Sundays in a row I was there. I was like, what in the world? Because I felt that peace and acceptance of who I am. And so for some reason that hit me when I was reading this. We can worship the God of our own understanding in all as well. So that's what that's what I was kind of coming from when you came in. But that's all. It's all good.
Well,
So
it came up in the same process. It's
Yeah.
communication, and we all end up doing it the way we need to do it. And it's just more about being aware. That's all.
Yeah. So
This is Steve. I have one thing to add, if you don't mind. Something that you triggered, Virginia, when you mentioned about the physical body returning to the earth, staying here. And what I had heard recently, and I believe this was channeled from Cryon, but I'm not positive. He mentioned that most of the Earth's religions have some respect for ancestors, because they're in their view, ancestors return to the Earth. And their preciousness, their hold of the earth, is that this is where their ancestors are. They return here, their bodies are here. So there's this concept that the earth is special to them. And I think we've kind of lost that sense in the way that we treat death in this society.
Yes.
So just something to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I listen to Chiron almost every night. So it's great. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Well, I'm looking forward to Carol Condrast's picture.
Yay, Carol, we're waiting.
You're so sweet. You're so sweet to always ask. Okay. Well, this is my version, I guess, of what I was listening toward.
Oh,
And,
wow. Okay,
Oh, neat.
so we do, as Virginia was saying, we communicate, we receive everything from everything, every, spiritual side, physical side, however you want to divide reality up. And the hand was real interesting. I couldn't get it to be kind of beautiful at all, but it was just because it was more like my ego was then said, forget how it has to look. But it is a reception that we receive, and Virginia was saying give. And anyway, it all comes together. And then with all these little flowers, everything has to be watered, and there's some rain coming, there's some sun coming. So anyway, it was kind of one of those.
Wow.
And yeah, and before
Thank you,
Virginia
Carol.
started,
Thank you.
but I'll show you this card that actually stimulated this drawing, which then was part of Virginia's talk for me. It's this little farmer kind of looking at the sun too. I don't know if you can see it real good. And the word underneath it is challenge. And I think communication is a challenge in the sense of, you have to be aware, you have to be awake to really receive and to give the energy. So anyway, thank you, Virginia, and thank you, everybody. Fun to be with everybody again.
Perfect. Okay. Any other comments? I guess. Otherwise, we'll move on. Just want to say to everybody, thank you so much for your gifts to the church. And, it's just great. It's in gratitude. I'm there almost every day and checking the mailbox. It's just so fun. Oh, there's another envelope in there. Yay. But it's all safe and it's locked and whatever. And it's helping us so much. So just want to add that. And so thank you. Let's see what else. We'd like to, of course, continue if you want to mail anything to the church, 1414 East 9th Street, Duluth 55805. So here's a church affirmation. It's the following thing. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of LSICC, our wonderful church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community. We are grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Virginia, do you want to do benediction, or else I can do Unity's benediction?
I think that the prayer that you say, the protective prayer, that's really something that is, always useful for everybody in the church.
Yes, I'm on it, right here. Okay, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I mean, I'm getting tears as I'm trying to read this, you guys. It's like, Jesus. I love it. So thank you, everybody. We'll just see you all next week. Oh, LSICC is speaking from the country of Finland via Zoom. She said, oh, I do that all the time. We talked a couple or so Saturdays ago, and so now I have to contact her and get her theme or whatever, and from Finland. So that should be fun. Spread the word, LSICC is, she's amazing lady also. So it's all good. I mean, speaking from another country,
it's a small world.
It's a small world after all, just whatever the word. Yeah, it is. It's very small world. It's like, I can't believe when she called me on a Saturday. It was LSICC, and I'm like, oh my God. And it just happened to be because my kids are going to be here. I have a 4-year-old, 8-year-old. Okay, there was a mattress just being delivered to my garage. And she's calling me from Finland. I'm like, oh my, why do things happen just like that? And so anyway, we were able to talk, and I was still able to direct the guy who's delivering the mattress to put it in the garage. And so anyway, Zulu and I were able to talk for a few minutes. That was pretty awesome, talking to someone in a different country. Just because I live in a small world in my head, and that's just profound to me. How small our world really is. It's like, so what if she's part of the world? Well, what do you mean, so what? It's all good. Okay, that's next week, and we'll be in touch. Everybody, love you all. Grateful to you all. Love our church. Okay, see you all. Thank you, Steve. Okay.
Thank you all.
Carol.
You bet.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you, Virginia. Yes. Well, I think she's gone, but okay. Talk to you soon.